Alright, let me get my screen sharing. Alright, let me know if you're seeing it.
Yeah, I see it.
Alright. Here we go. So, first, one of the things that I like to note is, I think one of the most important things is kind of more outside of the game than inside the game, if that makes sense. Let me also...
Yeah.
Give me one sec.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Is champ pool, I think, is very important. And for me, I think a champ pool of 2 to 3, or around 3 champs in you play mid lane, so in mid lane, and then have your secondary role. Looks like you play top as your main secondary.
Yeah. Top and jungle.
Top. Yeah. I'd recommend really only have one secondary.
Yeah, I'm more of a top lane guy, so
Yeah. Yeah, so I personally recommend to have 2 to 3 in mid lane, and then maybe 2 in your secondary role. If you want to play a lot of other champs, I'd recommend go to flex when you want to play something else and are tired of playing your Katarina or Yasuo or whatever else you're playing. Just for reference, when I was hard stuck gold this season for a very long time, and I climbed a diamond from gold. It took me 70 games or so once I hit platinum to get to diamond 4 with a 66% win rate, and this is my recent ranked games on my main. So you see LeBlanc, Talon, Zed, LeBlanc, Kha'Zix, Zed, Kha'Zix, Zed, LeBlanc.
yeah.
And it's pretty much only
Like
those.
3 champions.
Yeah. Occasional, Zed and LeBlanc get banned, or, my team needs AD or AP and one of them's banned, I'll pick something else. Or, I picked my 3 champions. It's also okay to have an extra 2 champions in this pool, Like if I were to have Talon as well as a third mid laner or a Kali or whatever, and I picked another jungler or 2 up, I think that's reasonable. It's just hard to focus on climbing and getting good at the game when you're focused on... Even if you have a good idea of what your champ does, you still kind of stunt your growth a little bit. Let's see. Always focus on playing properly every game.
Yeah.
Play it when you're at 100%, focus on improving, and if you're tilted, don't play ranked.
Yeah.
That's just kind of... And making sure you don't really die 1v1. And if you are dying, try to figure out why you died. Was it preventable, or did your team get so much from your death? Like, if you die in the mid-game, but your team got Baron off of it, that's usually worth it. Just stuff like that. Did you have any general questions for me or anything?
So I actually want to, get some tips on Zed and LeBlanc.
On Zed and
Since
LeBlanc?
I plays those as well, yeah.
Yeah. One sec. Okay. Can you talk again real quick?
What? Sorry?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just trying to get you to talk. Just trying to fix the volume. You were a little quiet,
yeah.
but I fixed it.
Alright.
Okay. So
yeah. Zed and LeBlanc.
yeah, I mean,
Really wanna, yeah?
well, what were you saying?
I said I'm gonna try and keep my champion pool small, like Yasuo, Kata, Zed, and LeBlanc.
Okay.
So yeah.
A little bit quieter. Okay. So Yasuo, Zed, Cat, and LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll also send you this
Oh, sure.
after the
Thanks.
session. Yeah, no worries. So you've played a lot of Yasuo, and you seem to have a pretty good win rate on him.
Yeah,
So I'm
I did
guessing.
my farm.
Yeah. And again, just with back to the champ pool analogy, notice how you have a 67% win rate with Yasuo, but if you only played him, if you keep a similar win rate, you would climb a lot more than if you played a lot of champions that you didn't, that you have lower win rates on.
Yeah.
But do you have any specific questions about those? Any of these champions? I don't really know much about Kat or Yasuo. I know Katarina has a relatively weak laning phase, and you get most of your kills. You know, from my understanding of her, you usually let the enemy push you in, and then around level 3, you bounce it back to them. You might have an opportunity to kill them. You usually won't. Try to push it in, maybe get roams off.
Yeah. So I was like questioning on how am I gonna improve my trading basically.
You're grading?
With them. Trading.
Trading. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the general idea of trading.
Yeah, let me go through and see it. I have some VODs recorded on my computer. Let me look if I have any Zed ones. And I can go through some of, like, how I trade with him. And how I think you should trade.
Yeah, I know with Z you don't want to waste your W on like minions or stuff like that. You only use it for escaping or, for example, like trading.
Usually, yeah. There are times where you want to use it to push in.
I guess when he's dead, you can push. Whatever.
Yes, here's one quickly. Let me see. So, this is a Zed versus Aurelion Soul, so you're probably not really going to come into this matchup. Level 1, I think one of the most important things to do is, in the melee versus ranged, he's going to win the all-in, he can poke you down, so you really want to stay a little passive. Right? And he should be posturing a little more aggressively, because he's letting me walk up close to the minions. And I want to be able to hit him with a Q early on. But I also don't want to waste my Q, because if I throw my Q now, it's about a 6-second cooldown or so. I want to make sure I can at least get the farm. Ideally, when this minion gets low, I'll be able to throw my Q and hit him, so I get both the minion and some harass. But I prioritize getting the farm, usually. I have to give that one up, and I eat an auto for it, but he's not playing too aggressively here, which is nice.
Yeah, he's not punishing you.
Nah. So me walking up here is just, the only purpose of me walking up there is just to see how aggressive he's going to be toward me and kind of get a feel for what the lane is going to be like. If that makes sense. I noticed that he didn't try to attack me, so I realized right there that I'm probably going to be able to have a lot more presence in this lane than I should. And I go for that Q. I probably could have autoed it instead of queuing there, but again, it doesn't matter too much. And then walk to the side and juke. Just specific thing into Ace Soul if you want to stay closer to him when his W's out, so he doesn't hit you. Just kind of farm it out till level 3 or 4 till you get your W. Not very useful till then.
Yeah, I heard when someone is like aggressive and is pushing you under the turret, you wanna go for your E first and then your W.
Really? I've never done that.
Yeah.
Oh, level 2 you mean?
Yeah, level 2.
I almost always go for my E level 2.
Usually if you're aggressive or against champion you counter, you wanna go W second.
Yeah. Personally, for my playstyle, I prefer... Ooh, yeah, I get ganked here. I probably have to blow flash, yeah. That's unfortunate. But... That was just one minion
And
off.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
And then like right there, that was really bad. W there. Like, let's go back to that. So I get my W, and I noticed that I thought he was going to go more aggressive here, because I saw a good trade opportunity because he used his Q. And right now is a really good time to go for a good trade on him, because he doesn't have a stun on me, so if I go in, he has more health, but he doesn't really have anything to use to hurt me. Notice that Kindred is still here, so I can't do too long of a trade. But right now is... Yeah, but notice if I had to use my WE right here in order to hit him with the double Q, I waited too long. I'm better off using my WE and then waiting a second to see where he's going to walk before I use my Q. Notice how I use my Q immediately, and because of that, I miss. I'll try to find an example where I hit him with everything. Just always make sure you practice. Easy to farm under the tower. You should never really get...
Farming isn't really like a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have missed all that farm either, but... Let's see, my W's up. Let's see if I get a good trade in here. I know that he has... Right here is a really good spot to be because he has to go pretty far up in the lane to farm. And if he does that, I have the opportunity to go in on him and engage. And by me also holding on to my engage, notice how there, right there, yeah. I use my WE, and then I waited to see where he is so I could be sure to aim, see if he juked right now. I would have been able to have seen that immediately. And being able to get your head, take it back, dodge his ability, and then you can easily come out really high on the trade, and always use your mastery button. Yeah. It's always fun when... Yeah. Oh yeah. Some people also, it doesn't really tilt. I do it because it's just kind of fun to do. But again, I have my W up. I'm slow pushing this wave in. I'm probably going to want to crash this next wave in so I can get a good reset, dive. But notice how I'm able to slow push, and he's not able to go for any of this farm. If he does go for any of this, I'm going to throw him with a WEQ, I'm guessing.
Okay, pretty much cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like a quick question. When do you usually wanna like a roam with Zed, or do you like even roam?
Generally very often, because Zed has really good push in and roam. Most games you want to roam a lot. If your jungler seems like he needs help and your wave is in a decent spot, you almost always want to help out. Mm-hmm. I've noticed that this season in particular, it's kind of hard to 1v9 and just win the game on your own if the enemy jungle and bot lane are all ahead. But if you can, even if you're not that far ahead, if you can get everyone else on your team winning, that's how it's easy to win, I think. But, and again, right there, I had a bad WEQ. If you watch, sorry, just while I'm here, I want to bring it up. Yeah. Notice how I just use my Qs immediately. Yeah. It's better to WE while your W is going out. Give it a quarter of a second, half a second, and then you're a lot more likely to hit the Q. Especially because he's right on my W. If I send my Q here and he just walks forward, it misses him. So stuff like that. But with roaming on Zed, LeBlanc, Assassins, you want to roam as much as you can. Obviously, if you have even if I'm already 2-0 in this lane, I think I get kind of strong, like, later on. You know, if my jungler gets invaded right now, I want to just go and help, and I can get a kill off of it easily. I have ult. I'm Zed, I'm strong. You know?
Especially when you have those...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Notice how I want to dive him right now. Ideally, my Shyvana would be here to dive with me, just in case Kindred comes, but you can't always expect your jungler to be smart and help you. I should have probably communicated that too, but she reset So I can just zone him from all this, or I can try to kill. If I'm not going to let him base if I can help it.
Yeah, he just lost.
He lost that entire wave in farm
Yeah.
and a lot of experience. But... And then, again, I use my W before I ult, because your ult has the snapback delay, right? And so I'm going to ult. I'm going to peer right behind him. He's going to ult. I can go to my W immediately, so I dodge his ult. Notice that I didn't predict anything at all there. Or I didn't react to anything. I predicted it. A lot of dodging and everything results into you. What do you think they're going to do? And try to play around that. You know? Rather than reacting to his ult and hoping my ping and my reaction times are good enough, I try to expect it in the first place and just play around that in general. And notice, I just wait around, I set up my Qs, and it's easy kill. And right now, I probably should have reset immediately.
Yeah,
But I probably wanted to farm up Ghost Blade, but I think I have it now, so. Then I decided to go to the fight instead, which I don't know if that is a good decision. And I also fat-fingered my flash there. But I also should be resetting, yeah, I do. But like...
Wait, this is pre-season or this is season 10?
This was season 10.
Yeah. I mean, the game plans and everything is still the same.
I recorded this, so like I recorded it with OBS. So I could review it from my point of view too. So I get his flash there for free. Notice how I push in and I go with my jungler a lot. I think it's really important to, if you're playing an assassin like Zed or probably even Katarina, Yasuo, but LeBlanc too, Talon. You want to play around your jungler a lot.
You wanna help them? They'll help you. You can go invade as well. Maybe.
Yeah, so oftentimes when you are pushing the wave in, you don't always want to just immediately path toward bot or path toward top. Sometimes it's better to go with, try to find your jungler and communicate, hey, I think their Kindred is going to be on red buff top side. Let's go into their top side jungle and kill them on repeat. So you can get you and your jungler ahead, and then you can translate that into bot lane. Then you can translate that into Rift Herald, into dragons. It's there's no simple, oh, every game you want to do this, every game you want to do that. Then I reset.
For example, maybe if you see the enemy like Kindred bottom lane and you cannot really roam, you can just like go in the enemy jungle and steal the farm.
Yeah.
Just make it in the jungle.
That is definitely true. That's kind of that I like to refer to as trading objectives. You never want to give them something for free. I'm not sure if you looked at that link I sent you with the Google Sheet.
Yeah.
But let me open that real quick. Trading objectives. This isn't just for objectives or anything, but if they are bot lane, if their team right now is there in bot lane, and they're 4-manning bot lane,
Yeah.
and you are Shyvana and Zed, and you know that you're not going to be able to get to bot lane in time, you should go Rift, and you should take all their top camps. Because, yes, they're getting stuff top lane, but you are at least denying them other resources on the map. So you're not giving them that for free. You don't want to trade them. You want to always try to trade objectives when you can. And, like, if you know that you're not going to get anything from roaming bot, besides saving your bot's mental a little bit, but you're better off getting some objectives for you. I don't get upset when my jungler doesn't play around me and I lose lane. I get upset when my jungler doesn't play around me and I lose my lane and they didn't do anything else on the map. If that makes sense. If they don't play around me but they get my bot and my top really far ahead, I don't mind. I'll just try to chill and get carried. But if they're doing a bad job of that, that's when it gets tilting, you know? Do you have any other questions? General questions?
I mean, I do kind of have like problems with over pushing. Like I don't really know when to back off, when to like go in. So maybe around that.
Yeah, one sec. Okay. So, laning, pushing too far.
Yeah.
I noticed this. I quickly looked through the game you were talking about. This is the game you sent me for right here where you die. And in my opinion, oh no, this wasn't it. This was before that. Roughly here. And this is, in my opinion, where you throw the game and lose it. And this is 100% on you. You were the one carrying the game, and the reason your team is has the chance to win right now is because of you. And you played very well up to this point. However, notice that you are 12-0 and are worth 1,000 gold. If you die, that's a big shutdown for them. They'll get a lot from it, right?
Yep.
And let's put it onto you, and I'll put it just your team. Your bot lane is dead. They just died around here.
Yeah.
Your jungler is farming his wolves. Just, I don't even know. He's just standing there. And your top laner's up here recalling. As far as, this is more of a mid game.
Yeah, it's like here. I kinda got mad at this point because my top lane was really losing it and he did
Yeah.
not know when to split push. I was pinging him and like telling him all the time to like
Yeah.
go and split push, but he really didn't like.
Yeah. I feel like that is hard for him to do because Teemo's hard to split push against for him because of the Q. But Teemo seems pretty far behind at this point, so that's... But I feel like this is a hard game for Tryndamere to split push, and he won't be able to do too much. But right here, I think this is more on you. This is one of the things that you can work on for yourself. You know, like, you are pushed up very far. You're on their tier 2 tower. No one else on your team is up on the map, so you have no pressure anywhere. And 4 of them are missing. So...
I think I want here to see if someone is gonna push me.
Yeah.
With the tower.
But think about it this way. If you were the enemy team, what would you be doing?
I would definitely come back as a team and go against the cup.
Yeah. And that's exactly what they do. And right here, you can see there's 3 of them here. Potentially the Jhin as well. And right now, at this point in the game, it's kind of a 50-50 who's going to win. Is it going to be your team kills Jhin, gets the shutdown and wins from that? Or is it their team's going to shut you down and win from that? Does that make sense? And so basically, you need to... I'm not saying you can't push up at all, but you need to play very safe and play around and make sure you don't die and give up that shutdown unless... you're doing it for a big objective, you kill Jhin as well, and you get an ace from it. Also, another thing to notice, you should be playing, just in general, you should be trying to play around the dragon. If you die here, you also give up dragon. You shouldn't be,
I should look more in the map and take like look at the objectives. I'm usually always looking at the map, but I'm not really focusing on the objectives.
yeah. It seems like you,
Checking on my teammates.
you're looking at trend, but you can't really... Do you think you typing to him is really going to make a big difference to him?
No. And most of the time people don't even listen to you.
Yeah.
They just focus for themselves.
I think the move here would have been to just say, it's okay, we got this, smiley face, and don't really type much else. Just try to be positive, but don't spend your whole time typing, and don't spend your energy worrying about that. Worry about the rest of the game. So right here, based off these are kind of all the some of these are pretty similar, but these are the things I think you did wrong in this one play. You didn't know when you could push up and not. So this right here is some things to consider about when you can push up. You know, let me put that down here. You generally only want to push when your team is pressuring the map, because, for example, if you are down here and you're pushing here, let's say this is 25 minutes into the game, you're split pushing alone down here and the rest of your team is top lane. If they send these 4 people here, your team can easily either get this inhibitor or go get Baron. So you die, even if you give up the shutdown, your team at least gets Baron for it, right?
Yeah.
This is kind of similar to that. Yeah, this is kind of similar to that trade objectives thing I was talking about earlier.
8,000 gold for a Baron.
Yeah, like, I don't know if that's worth it.
I mean, it could be worth it because...
But it's better than giving me 1,000 gold for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of knowing, can you push up? And you get unfortunate you don't at least trade a kill here. But that's 1,000 gold for Echo. He goes from that to a lot. They get the dragon off of that too. Your jungler rage quits. But, you know, and then it seems like, again, you spawn. And notice how it's 18 minutes into the game, you just had your first death. And when I looked at the OP GG, you ended up dying 7 times. And you died 7 times within a little over 10 minutes.
12 minutes.
Which, obviously, I understand it. After he got that shutdown, their team got pretty far ahead. Notice how your team was winning in gold, and now it's even. They're gonna get dragon. Now,
I was kind of mad and I started just pushing everything.
But notice how you were the reason you're winning, but the reason your team lost is also largely on you. Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, you played this game poorly.
Yeah.
But it is partially on you for losing that, if that makes sense. And this was totally winnable if you didn't do that. And when you sent me the replay and I saw how fed you were and I was going through it, I just was like, okay, when's he die? And when, because that's the throw.
Usually when you have like a big bounty and you die,
you don't want to give it for nothing. It's not that you can't push. You need to know, you need to really think about.
Yeah, learn from the mistakes.
So this kind of goes into this one here, knowing when you can push up. If you have a bounty, think, what are my limits? I can't afford to die. So right now, let's go back to right before you died. Right. You're pushing up far if your Tryndamere was pushed up here and your bot lane had been pushed up to here, you being mid pushing up here is fine because your team is pressuring elsewhere on the map.
And they really can't like group up.
Yeah. If they do group up, you get the top towers, you get the bot towers, possibly inhibs, possibly dragon or baron if those are up. But you have to also recognize there are no objectives up right now. What can you gain from it, and what are you potentially losing if it doesn't work out? What do you gain from this? You possibly get a tower, some farm. What do you possibly lose out on? The dragon that's going to spawn in 30 seconds. You potentially lose out on this, giving them 1,000 gold. Always be thinking, is this the right play? And look at your F keys, look at your minimap. See not only what are the enemies doing, see what they're not doing. See they're not showing on the map. That means they're probably coming to me. Even if they're not, just assume they are, because if they are, then you die. Because they have a lot of good engage. They have Lee Sin who can jump over walls. They have Pantheon ult, and Jhin ult can hit you from really far away too. So they have a lot of good chase and engage tools. And Katarina doesn't have really good escape tools. Like if you're playing...
You need W, which like speeds you up, and maybe like E on minions.
Yeah, if you're playing Zed, you might be able to get away with this. If you're playing Talon or LeBlanc, you 100% could, as long as you save your W on LeBlanc or E on Talon so you can get away. But you also knew that they were coming from bot side, because that's where your bot lane just died. You should have that information already. You should be aware of that and know that, yes, you can push this wave up, but you run bot here, you should probably be posturing to run up this way. And if you look at this, that is where they're coming from. So that's just kind of a, don't die for no reason. You really want to know when to group, when to side lane. I didn't watch the whole game. I have no idea what happens before this point. I have no idea what happens after it, really. I can just tell you this is the point where you, in particular, threw the game. And you can argue that your bot lane shouldn't have died here, especially before Dragon's about to spawn.
I mean, Ashe
But
was kind of trolling.
yeah, but that's something you can't control, right?
Yeah.
The one thing you can control is how far up you're going to push, how you're going to play. Are you going to die here, right? So that's what you need to focus on during this game. Making sure that you don't die and that you're fed and that you can carry this game properly, right?
Something I realized just now, that something I could have done is check the tab, see when the Drake is spawning, maybe go move to base, buy some items, and once like they start the Drake, I can pretty much pentakill them.
Pretty much, because you don't have a lot of gold on you right now, so I don't know if there's much to buy. One thing I would note is it's not really useful to buy health potions at this point in the game, because it's already pretty late. It's nice to have some sustain, but I think a pink ward would be better. And you should also, I would recommend swapping to red trinket, because one, Katarina thrives on being able to pick enemies, and she thrives in solo queue because there's no coordination. They're going to walk into you and you're going to be able to get a lot of kills from that. And if you have the red trinket, you can make sure you're not on a ward. But also, Teemo Shroom. Red trinket's really good for making sure you're not going to walk into shrooms.
The only reason I didn't buy a trinket was because I heard like buying like the blue ward, the red ward, like it doesn't really benefit from like before 20 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
So I usually just keep it like after 20 minutes once they like focus on Baron and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
usually, yeah.
I think part of that's just because I think this is silver, right? High silver, low
Yes.
gold. They're not going to ward it properly. That's more because the enemy team's not playing properly than because that's what the good move is. As long as you analyze the situation and say, I don't think this is always the right decision. However, because of how the enemies are playing, this is what I'm going to do. If you analyze the situation and think that way, then it's a good decision to make to not switch to the red trinket because you know they're not warding properly, so you're not going to switch to the red trinket. That's fine. But if you just blindly never buy the red trinket before 20 minutes, I think that's where you start to develop a problem. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I said, like early game, I usually like I probably have 80% on winning in early games.
Yeah.
But when it kind of gets into the 20 minutes mid game to late game, I really don't know what to do, and I'm just pushing constantly, no matter what the champ is.
Yeah.
I could be anywhere, and I would be still pushing like this far. So if you have like any tips about that, like when to push, what to do in mid lane or in mid game.
Give me 1 second. I'll type it on the screen here so you can see it actually. So the main problem, self-recognized, is so is that correct? You push up too far during the mid game and you die.
Exactly.
So that's just two things of what it means. You know, you potentially give up shutdowns, objectives, and your map pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot farm or get XP when you're dead. And in the mid and late game, when you're dead for 30 to 60 seconds, possibly even more, the enemy team is getting farmed, they're getting XP. That means you get underleveled and you lose your lead a lot. Because not only do you give them the gold, you give them the ability to farm their side lanes. Okay.
Like, for example, I know, like, I cannot do anything about it, and if they start, like, the Baron, should I just focus on, like, pushing, like, get maybe an hit tower as well?
That depends on the situation, what your champion is. If you think you can get there in time, you should probably go if you think you'll be able to win the fight. Generally, you don't want to be split pushing far away from Baron if you have teleport. You want to send your top laner, who hopefully has teleport and not ignite, to the far away lane from the objectives. If it's Baron, you want to send a teleport person to bot lane. If Dragon's up and Dragon Fight's going to be coming up soon, you want to send the person with teleport to top lane generally. Again, I can't tell you a blanket, this is what you want to do every single game. Generally, when I play, if you're playing a mage, you don't really do, but mage, so first mage I'll talk about first. So you want to push the wave to halfway point, maybe less, and then group and play around objectives. So when I say a mage, I'm talking about someone who has no escapes, no bad side laning. Think Syndra, maybe Orianna, Xerath. Someone who, if you're pushed up to here, yeah, exactly, and someone comes to you, you don't have a Talon E to hop over the wall, a LeBlanc W to get away. If they get up to you, you just die. They're bad in the side lane, right?
Yeah.
So you want to push the wave up to here, maybe, at a maximum. Sometimes you can push a little bit further if your team is pushing really far. But generally, you want to push it up. Like, if you're playing Syndra here, and they're all missing on the map, you probably don't want to go up past here with this tower down. Right? Unless you know that for a fact, the enemy team is all mid and top. Because if their Zed comes out of nowhere, even as Syndra, even if you have Zhonya's, he's going to kill you 1v1.
So stay near your towers, basically.
If you're a mage. If you're someone who doesn't, or you're really far behind, if you can't match their 1v1. Right?
Maybe maybe you're using someone like Katarina, which doesn't really compare to anyone.
She's kind of between the two.
Yeah.
And again, I don't play Katarina, so I have no idea exactly how you're supposed to play her in this sort of situation, but my guess, or I can't say from my personal experience, but I can say from my guess, would be you want to push this up because you want to go into the side lane, because that's how you keep up your farm. That's how you keep up your CS per minute after the laning phase. You want to, basically, what's going to happen here is this wave is going to push towards your side. Eventually, it's either going to push now, or it's going to hit this wave and then push back toward you. And when it does, you want to be able to catch this wave, get all the minions, get all the gold from that, and get all the experience. And if you're playing someone like a mage, someone who doesn't have good escape, if you're playing Katarina, and right now you can push up decently far as long as the rest of your team is pushed up, but if you're alone on the map, like right now, you don't want to push up far. If that makes sense. So, for example, let's say you're right here, and Echo is here, but you see everyone else on their team is mid lane right here. Have at it. Go push up as far as you want to this tower, because you know they're all showing on the map, and you're not going to... And you can 1v1 Echo, no problem. It's when you see them start to go MIA and start roaming down bot lane, that's when you need to start being careful. If, for example, you were Cat and you're 2-2, and the person matching you in this is a 7-0 Camille, you have to play very passive, and you probably don't want to go up past here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, it's kind of situational, but generally, if you're playing someone who doesn't have a lot of escape, what you should be doing is you should be going to the side lane to catch the waves, so you get that XP and you get that farm. And then after you push the wave up a bit, then you group with your team and try to make plays when you're grouped. And ideally, this is at a higher level of play, so this won't happen too much in gold. Ideally, their bot laner, their mid laner will go catch the wave that you pushed out down here. And then you'll have the numbers advantage, and you'll have a timer here for while their Echo is bot lane for you to make a play here mid and have the numbers advantage. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's for a mage, for someone who doesn't really want to split push, because you don't want to just hang mid, because otherwise you're gonna lose a lot of minions bot lane, because if you're mid and your ADC and support are mid, you're just sharing a lot of experience and sharing a lot of farm for no reason. You should go to the side lane, push up the wave, and then come back mid, and then go for something. And if it's a 5v5, if someone, let's say, if no one on their team goes to collect this wave on this tower, they missed a lot of experience. You don't have to force a fight. You're getting your team ahead again just by denying them this wave. Though that's a smaller advantage, again, that's probably not going to really factor in too much at this play, at this level. I mean, a lot of the problems with people in this elo is that they just don't play the macro game. They know how to lane, they just don't know how to do anything afterward.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. You want to catch the side waves and then push up, and then group with your team as a mage.
Oh yeah. Also, I want to ask you: are there like any YouTube channels that have like specific videos for mid game to end game? Because early game I've watched like a ton of videos, so I'm really
Yeah.
like doing well early, but
Uh,
mid game, late game, I'm really losing.
Here. I'll send you this channel real quick. This isn't a specific video, but this is Coach Curtis. He has a lot of really good guides. Some of them are very different focuses. Some of them are laning. Some of them are specific champions. But I'm sure he has some late game aspects to it. I could also try to start doing that sort of stuff too, and look into it, because that might be useful to do that instead of just doing it individually every single time I help coach someone. If there's a video that they could just go through and watch and say, oh yeah, that makes sense. But I would just go through that. Just look up mid to late game guides. Go to YouTube. Go to Katarina high elo VOD. Don't watch these stupid clickbait. Let's just look at a matchup. Katarina versus Akali. Go to YouTube and you'll say, watch this one. And this is if you have, why is that doing that? And you can you can just fast forward to the mid game, right? And you can see what is Cat Evolved, a challenger Katarina main, doing, right? Does he go spend the entire time in the side lane? Does he spend the entire time in mid lane, grouping with team? Does he play around objectives? What exactly does he do? And not only try to see that, but also see why is he doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing you could definitely do to do it. Let me close that out. But with an assassin with escape, so again, with someone with escape, you can push much further than a mage can push. And this is just easily, I kind of explained it a little bit, but imagine you're playing LeBlanc right here. You can easily W, R, W again. You get out pretty easily from this. But imagine you're here in Xerath, and they 3-man collapse on you. Right? That's just kind of easy to visualize, that you can push up a lot further if you have a lot of escape tools. But that's just one aspect of it. You also want to think, again, earlier, as I said, what's your team doing with pressure on the map? If a quick analogy is like, imagine if you're at war and you're Germany in World War II. You're winning on the Western front, on Western Europe. However, once you open too many fronts, like when you attack Russia too, when you have a front, you have to divert more of your resources. You have to split them up, right? You have to send some towards Europe and then some towards Asia, towards Russia, right? In this league example, let's say you're Katarina, they can send all their resources to you because there's no one else attacking them, right?
Yep.
But if they send all their resources to you and your team is all here, that's the equivalent of, in the World War II example, of them sending all their soldiers to Russia to go take St. Petersburg, and then the Allies can go and rush in and take Berlin.
Exactly.
So you kind of want to think about, what is your team doing? Can you do this? And sometimes you're playing Katarina, they have no crowd control. You could probably 3-man. when you're this fed.
Yeah, although I really kind of misplayed it and went
Yeah.
into the bushes.
But
I could have just like went top lane at this point.
yeah,
and-
you could have gone top here and you probably would have gotten out. You know, even right here, you probably could have gotten out if you were able to dodge the Lee Sin Q. If you,
I did not know that.
but yeah,
Like,
but like that's just kind of unlucky for you. But like, again, you don't want to analyze based off results of did this work. You want to say, well, was this worth the risk of it not working too? You know?
look at all the aspects, basically.
Yeah, if that makes sense. You don't want to say, well, I ended up getting out because I flashed over and I got a kill, and the Lee Sin missed his Q and the Echo missed his stun because, oh, I lived, so it's not a problem. Think about, well, what if they did hit it and then I did die? This wasn't a good decision to go up for here, even if you lived, because the risk of giving up your shutdown with your teammates not going to get anything for you dying, it wasn't a good decision to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, so know when you can push up far. Kind of pre-analyze who and how many of them you can take by yourself. Like if you analyze and you think I can take Lee Sin and I can take Echo, if it's just the two of them, then you can keep pushing up. But also know that in advance, if Pantheon comes, then you will leave. And if you think Pantheon's coming, kind of pre-analyze that, what you think you can do, and pre-plan your escape route. Like I was saying here when you were pushed up here, pre-plan and realize they're in their top side jungle or in their bot side jungle, right?
Yeah.
You should plan that instead of running back towards their bot side jungle near where they're coming from, run to their top side. You might be able to survive. And again, I don't think it was the right decision to push up this far, but if you ran towards their top side, you at least would probably get out or have a much better chance.
Yeah.
I think in terms of that will help you out a lot. The ideal situation regarding will your team get anything out of them coming to you, and I love to do this a lot, especially when I'm playing Zed and LeBlanc. I'll be pushing this tower or this tower as Zed or LeBlanc, and those two champions are very squishy, right? Or very slippery. They have a lot of escape, they have a lot of dashes, and they can get out of a lot of situations. And so if they send their Lee Sin and their Pantheon and Echo bot lane, and it's past 20 minutes, I know that if they send 3 bot, there's a good chance I'll be able to get out, and on top of that, my team will be able to get Baron, right?
Yeah.
That's the ideal situation, is they send 3 for you, you're able to get out and not die, and your team can get the objective. They can get the Baron, they can get the Dragon. Right? That's kind of the ideal, but you have to really think about, will your team be able to have the opportunity to get anything out of it? That sort of stuff. Things that you want to analyze, you know. Do they have teleports? Is your team pushing other lanes? Are the objectives Dragon, Baron spawning? Or are they up? You know? hopefully that helps a little bit. Do you have any other questions regarding pushing up far and knowing when you can and can't? Oh. I think he can't hear me. I think it's lagging. I'm not sure if it's my end or his end.
Okay, it's
okay, it's better. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you hear me talking about this stuff here?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Okay. Do you have any other questions regarding either this main problem, pushing up too far, giving up your shutdowns, and throwing your lead?
I mean, you pretty much covered everything.
Yeah. Any questions regarding anything else either? You know, just how to climb, you know, any specific matchup, or I didn't really talk about, I can't really help with Yasuo or Katarina in terms of combos. I went over a little bit with Zed.
Yeah, I mean, I can
but
pretty much like look at YouTube about that.
Yeah. Ideally, this helps you kind of figure out not what you should do in the future, but give you the process to say, oh yeah, I was pushed up too far here. Why was I pushed up here? How can I prevent this in the future? Rather than needing a coaching to go tell you to think about, this is what you should think about. Hopefully in the future, you'll be able to recognize your mistakes again, think what was the process, and what can you do in the future to prevent it. So you can kind of learn on your own in the future. Did you have any other questions regarding that? Anything else like that, or?
Not really. You pretty much covered everything that I wanted to actually ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just let's just recap it all really quickly. So in the laning, you also want to make sure you get vision. You die to ganks a lot, I'm guessing, and not 1v1 in games.
Exactly. That's usually what happens.
I'd also look up some videos on jungle tracking just to get a better idea. This isn't an exhaustive list. Some of them fall into multiple categories, like Lee Sin can gank level 2, or they can 3 camp, go get their buffs and Gromp. But that's a general. And then later on, so that's just some basic stuff, you know. Don't fight if you don't know where their jungle. I'll also add support, because a lot of support start roaming now, but
yeah, I mean, lowy doesn't really happen.
Yeah, but this is also something that I don't want to just say this now and just jungle. It's a good habit to get into now, so that way when you hopefully do start climbing, you get better at understanding this. And don't use your escape. So like I was saying with Zed, yes, it's good to look for aggressive trades with your W, but if they're Pantheon, Shaco jungle, or whatever it is, who has good ganks on you and has good kill pressure. You don't want to use your W aggressively on their side of the map, because even if you get a good electrocute proc and knock 30% of 40% of their health off, that means for the next 15 seconds you are an easy gank, and you could easily die for it. You want to make sure you wait until you see them on their jungler on the map, or know that even if you use it, you won't die or take a lot of harass from it.
Yeah, also a quick question, like, why do I usually get like high level golds, or for example like platinums or whatever? Like, I'm not playing with my rank such as silver. When I was silver 2, I remember getting like high level golds and stuff like that, but then I actually started like losing the games and everything.
I think that's just MMR. MMR is kind of weird. It looks like you went on a big win streak here, and because of that, your MMR went from pretty low. These are a lot of these are normals, but like a lot of these are ranked too. I think the system just saw, oh, he's winning a lot, he should be a higher elo, so we're going to put him against higher elo people, and your visible rank didn't quite catch up yet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So I'd say these are probably the three things you need to focus on the most. For me, it was different. I just needed to stop dying 1v1 and stop pushing up too far for no reason. So that's kind of what I do. Objective control. Know when they spawn. Just remember,
Oh, for example, if you're like 10th minute or so,
yeah,
and you wanna get like a really like I guess an item, should you sell, for example, if you have like the starter item,
Dorans or something.
yeah, should you actually like sell them
Um,
and like buy the item?
that's kind of, I don't like doing that a lot of the time, but I know a lot of people do end up doing that. I think it's kind of, again, situational. If you sell your Doran's Blade right now and you're able to, if you're, say, I'll go back to Season 10 because I don't know the new items and power spikes properly, but let's say you're Katarina, and if you sell your Doran's Blade, you get your Gunblade for this dragon fight. That's a big power spike, and it allows you the chance to possibly win the game from this dragon fight. With that power spike, I would say that's definitely something you should probably do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And again, don't hold on for it too long. Don't just sell it for no reason, but that's something you kind of just figure out what feels best for you in different situations. But okay, then remember, it takes about 30 seconds to walk to the objectives from base, depending which side you're on, but you also want to be there more than right when it spawns. So ideally you back around a minute before the objective spawns if you can. And you're better off being at the objective for the fight with gold on you than, let's say you have 1,000 gold in the bank and you can finish your Gunblade. You're better off being there without the Gunblade than getting your Gunblade, but then your team loses the fight without you. You know, ideally you'd say to your team, hey, give this dragon. We can't fight them. They're ahead. I'm not going to be there. But this is silver. This is gold. They're going to, they're just going to go in and die for no reason. Right?
Yeah.
Then mid-game, play around grouping, side laning, and pushing up. Really just try to analyze what can you do, what are your limits. And then outside of the game, you know, you found your champ pool kind of. This looks fine. You've picked champions that are fun and hard to play. Just remember that might hold you back a little bit. All 4 of these champs have a lot of mechanics and are pretty difficult champions to play, at least to a very high level.
Mechanics I really don't like. What is it? Like, they don't really matter to me because I'm really good at mechanics, but like my game decisions in late game, mid game are really, really weak, and I just wanna expand my wayload.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's hard to focus on learning all the mechanics for every champion at the same time. And then again, just focus on 1 to 3 objectives at a time. So like focus on one game, focus on farming and not pushing up far. And once you get better at doing that, then add a new objective to learn at. Don't try to get better at every single thing at the same time, because that's going to overwhelm yourself and you're not going to really get better at. You can't focus on trying to farm, trying to track the enemy jungle, trying to learn how to trade properly all at the same time in addition to other stuff. Just try to focus on 1 to 3 things at a time.
Yeah.
All right. I've got to get going now, but do you have any other quick questions?
No, not really.
Okay.